Welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast, a slice of joy and healing with your host, Dr. Altricia Foster. This is a heartwarming and uplifting space that celebrates the transformative power of baking therapy. The conversations will be a delightful blend of inspirational stories, expert insights, and practical baking tips. Each episode will take listeners on a journey of self-discovery, emotional healing, and connection through the therapeutic art of baking. There's something here for everyone, so lock in and let's get into it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Cake Therapy Podcast with me, your host, Altricia Foster. I'm excited to be here today because we have an exciting guest in the lineup for you. We will be welcoming back someone who truly embodies the idea that cake can be both cake, art, and therapy. Our guest is a fine art cake designer, instructor, and creative visionary with a background in cognitive science and psychology. We actually first met this guest in season 1 of our show to talk about her personal journey and deep connection between creativity and mental wellness. Now she's back to share something new and exciting with you. I'm so excited to welcome back Jasmine Rae from Jasmine Rae Cake. All right, so welcome back, Jasmine, to the Cake Therapy Podcast. We're happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Well, today's a really energetic day. So I appreciate the question because that's just a good place to be. It's not always this day, but today it is, which is good.
I know our listeners will be happy to have you back. You were one of our most listened podcasts in episodes in season 1. So I'm sure they're excited to hear what you have to say, because I'm sure your followers have noticed as well that you're rolling out something new with a partner, of course. So I'm happy to have you back to talk a little bit more about it. So the last time you were here with us, we talked about your journey into cake design specifically, but how baking, in fact, actually connects with mental wellness, right? Since then, it seems like you've been building something really special. And I remember you mentioned that you were working on something. So I'm not sure if this is the thing, but you did mention that you were. So tell us, what has been happening since our last conversation?
So much has happened. It's interesting because in retrospect, I can form a different narrative around it than when I was in the thick of it. Yeah. Which I think a lot of people would relate to, especially from the last 5 years when narratives were just completely... Sorry, I have some really cute neighbors who do ring and runs every day. So I think that was my ring and run. I don't know if you heard that. I think, in the last 5 years, so many people's kind of like life trajectories and narratives were so derailed that everybody was just kind of fumbling and trying to find a new way to understand even the process of what they were going through, the changes that inevitably may have happened at the individual level, as well as, of course, the collective level. And one way that I can talk about it today that I couldn't before was that I felt like a field going fallow, just being in this space of having to kind of rechurn the soil so that something new could be planted. And so during that time, I was conceiving, like, how do I keep my fingers in the batter and still feel really connected to a sense of purpose now that so much has changed? And I think a lot of people left the industry during that time, and I came very close to it. Yeah. Azara, incidentally, on the other coast of this country, was going through a similar process in a different way from a different place. And we were both kind of conceiving of this idea of coming back with a little bit more of like an activism quality, something that like addressed more at the community level. Makers. And she was just going to start a community that was about like kind of living your voice, in like the wild, impassioned way. And I was coming from the place of like, I'm going to have more like videos that, talked about all the different facets of cake making, etc., as well as the industry and decorating, and then bringing our voices together. It felt like a fluke, but I really think it was more fated. And we just came together, and the alignment was uncanny. In the first 30 minutes of our conversation, we were like, oh, this is a partnership. We have the same goal, the same like long-term thinking of how we want the industry to be up-leveled in a really good way. So that's kind of like been the larger thing. And then it turned into Cake Circle community, and all of the beautiful little synchronicities, started showing up even in the name of calling it Cake Circle. Felt really perfect.
Yeah, I actually love that. So that's Azara from Milk Moon Kitchen. I'm hoping to have her on so our listeners could hear from her as well. Yes. But what is the gap, or what are some of the gaps in the cake industry that you both are hoping that this Cake Circle would actually fill or will fill?
Oh, I mean, the gaps, there are gaps in the industry, but really the biggest gaps are in the public. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the public values cake and invites a cake to every meaningful moment of a gathering and a milestone in people's lives, but they don't value cake when it comes to like recognizing the artistry, paying for it. I would say not across the board, but on average, that is one of the biggest complaints, that inside the industry, people don't feel valued in the work that we do. And so the gap is that the public does care about cake, does value cake, does recognize the importance of cake in culture, but isn't necessarily backing it up with the respect for the industry that the industry needs in order to feel healthy and sustainable. So that gap is what we are really focused on fulfilling. And that's going to happen at 3 different levels. That's going to happen like at the personal level of, what am I developing as an artist and a business person entering this industry, doing this? At the professional level of like, what does my business look like? How do I serve the public? But really also at the cultural level, like changing, like transforming the public's perception so that they are able to value cake in ways that are more material and actually support the industry and recognize the value that we are providing for the culture.
Yeah. So then the stakeholders then in this, are you inviting the community to be a part of the Cake Circle, or is it just for bakers? And so are you inviting users?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. I think that is such a large scope in order to address the entire public, like basically the whole world. I think the messaging has to be kind of 2 directions. Okay. One, to the public, you do value us, and here's how you can really show it. And it's going to be in certain ways that you show respect to your cake baker, the way recognizing that you're inviting them into something meaningful. This is the cost that's associated with running this business, and therefore these are the compensations that we need at a kind of a minimum, a livable wage minimum. So those conversations can be had with the public over platform like social media platforms. But I think the arm that we're really focusing on right now is how to talk to the people inside the industry so that we are sharing a conversation and forming a new way of being able to address the public at every little spot where somebody is working. Like I can have a very small business, connect into Cake Circle, get some understanding, feel affirmed, get some sort of training even, and then come back and be able to have these conversations one-on-one with my clientele and start to transform around me where I work, in my community, in my little neighborhood where I'm serving my clientele. I can start to transform at those little levels. And so we as the industry have to have kind of like a larger network, shared understanding conversation about these things so that we can start to transform at all of these little hubs. And I think that will impact the public perception.
So what I'm hearing is like then the initial goal or the immediate goal or short term is to increase knowledge in the community so that can be transferred to the users of our businesses.
Yes, to the people we serve.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, the last time when you were here, you always spoke about cake as more than dessert. And I get that from our conversations, and you're so deeply connected to this artistry that you're a part of. Cake Circle talks about cake as a space for play, exploration, and artistic voice. Why is it important for cake artists to find their own creative voice rather than simply follow trends?
I mean, I would say kind of two main things about that, although I could probably talk for just an hour on this. One, it's sustainable. If you have your own creative voice, you have a personal stake in the work that you're making. And that will get you through all of the little points of friction that you will inevitably experience as a business person. And so that's really, really important, because if it's something where you feel like this is me, I'm on the line personally, and my this is part of my development. This is my offering to the world. If you have your own creative voice, you really are in touch with that in a way that makes the business quite sustainable, healthy, thriving. And then the other point I would make is, I'd like this is kind of like a nuanced point. I want the conversation to be framed less as you either have your creative voice or you don't, and more like recognizing that it's a path of development. We all go through points where we don't know our creative voice yet. And it can be years and years and years. Like, I keep identifying for myself that there's like this 8-year mark where like something coagulated and it like really gelled for me. But there were times where I absolutely copied other people. If you go to extremely famous museums, artists who are very skilled will be sitting there copying works that they consider to be done by masterful artists who preceded them, hundreds of years prior. So that copying and not being in touch with your creative voice is still part of developing toward it. One of the reasons that we have kind of like an interesting little any creative work is kind of like this, where you're not learning specific skills and being kind of like officialized by some larger board that says, okay, you've learned the sufficient amount of XYZ and you take this test and here we give you this license and now you can practice medicine or law or architecture. We are able to just enter the industry voluntarily without any training. There's no barrier to entry. All you have to do is be able to follow a recipe and have the equipment to bake a cake. And then suddenly you're on stage performing as a small business person. And without that sense of training, there really isn't confidence that you're going to be able to fulfill on the work that you want to be doing. So that creative piece, that's something that often happens in the background for many other industries while they're developing skills. Because we're at the forefront, we're already like interfacing with clients while we're still in development. It can be a long time for that creative voice to be showing up before the demand to have it is there.
And then imagine how hard it will be to explore your creative side if you're overworked and you're actually leaning towards burnout. So it becomes a catch-22 too, You want to be creative, but at the same time, you're actually getting burnt out because you're overworked and underpaid.
Right. And part of the reason that we get burnout in this industry so much is because of the low barrier to entry and not knowing really what it takes to have business chops. That's something like people are like, the business side, that's kind of the evil piece that I need to accept in order to like do the fun work. But the other piece is what I was talking about before around the activism. The public's perception needs to transform as well. So it's really starting to distinguish all of these parts. That's the conversation that we need to be having inside the industry and then bringing that out to the public.
Yeah. And then this brings to us like the need for community, right? To be able to have these conversations with others. Because so many of us work in these spaces of isolation, right? Especially we have like really long hours in the kitchen. So what do you think community, or why do you think community is actually so important for creative sustainability?
I mean, just to bring it all back to my psychology training, we are open systems. You know, we're designed to come into this world. We are not independent coming into this world. There are many, 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 many years before we get to the point where we are actually able to influence our own ability to survive. So attachment, which you, of course, are going to know so well how this fits in, but I'll, just kind of like gloss over it here go through it quickly. But attachment is key to survival, the ability to form these bonds and relationships with other people. So that doesn't stop once we're independent, once we're able to provide our own food and shelter. That continues all through the end of life, that we need to be in relationship with other people as a core part of our ability to survive. And in fact, it isn't just about a bond with one other person, like our primary caregiver as when we're children, but at the community level as well. So it's expanding beyond just, a one-on-one relationship. Attachment at the level of group is also key to survival, and actually becomes even more important as we get older and we have to interface in a society. So, I mean, just right off the bat, anybody working in isolation is going to be at a disadvantage in terms of feeling confidence and that sense of like, this is going to be okay. So I think connecting with a community is a really important part. And I get any trepidation that somebody might have about doing that, because sometimes it can be like the right fit, or a community can feel a little bit overwhelming at times. So, one of the things that we do in the community that we're creating is just everything is like kind of an open invitation, and you participate as you can. Things will come to you, and then you put in as much as you have the bandwidth for, because I think we're also really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think in general, there are a lot of different cake communities, kind of addressing different things. Many of them are very topic-based, which can be really great, or, kind of like some general ideas, like it can just be like business training in general, or business training specifically for cakes, or decorating focused, etc. But just being in community, just engaging in community, having these moments where you're able to feel less alone in what you're doing. There's so many ways to benefit from that interface.
We hear cake circling, and the visual alone speaks of connectivity, right? Connection throughout.
I love it.
Yeah. Talk to us about the modeling itself. Like, what are the expectations? What is being offered in the circle outside of mentorship and possibly some training? If there's training, what does that look like?
That's a great question. So there are kind of three arms to the circle, to Cake Circle. And one of them is maybe kind of branching into more like a coalition, like a guild of some sort. So I'll talk about that in a second. But inside the community there are a bunch of like little activities that can be utilized as just part of the base membership. And that's co-caking hours. So we were talking about isolation. Fridays tends to be a pretty isolating day. So many cake makers don't get to have fun kickback Friday nights, hang out with friends, etc. Because that's like grind time, we're all working to fulfill on all the parties that are happening on Saturdays. So having co-caking hours is literally just like opening your laptop, turning on the screen, and there are other people who are also making cake there. in that online space.
Yeah.
And you can just bop in and be like, hey guys, I'm working on this thing. Or, what do you think of this that I just made? Or anything like that. It can even just be ruminations, or I have these thoughts, or like feeling a little stuck around something with this client and I kind of want to get through it. Whatever it is, like it can also just be utter silence, just like having someone there in the background and knowing that the tribe is near.
Okay.
So co-caking hours is kind of like one feature. There's another really awesome feature called Cake Play, where Azara has been putting together these like kind of fundamentals of design. So it's like kind of a more, I don't necessarily want to say academic, but it's a sophisticated approach to how do we design cakes. There's sketching practice involved, which, some people, surprisingly, even though we're artists, there are many different mediums that we work inside of. And some people, I've been surprised to learn some people are like, sketching is not my thing. It's actually really challenging to do that for a client. Yeah. But give me the full sculpture, like get my hands dirty. I'm all there. So just getting to practice that sort of part of it. Another feature is just even having like a conversation, just like this dedicated space to kvetch or get advice or perspective about something. Because we all have those moments of just like wanting to talk about like, what do we need? What do we hope for? Yeah. What sort of support is there? So that's kind of, some of the features of the community. And then there's the consulting side, which is more formal. And that's like, you have to kind of register at another level for that, because there's more training. That's like really coming and saying, my specific business, I need a particular issue addressed, or expertise and the reflection of another small group. So my consultation circles are open so that 3 to 4 people at a time are together for 75 minutes, and everybody gets a dedicated amount of time to say, this is an issue I'm going through. I just wrote this website copy. I need more eyes to look at it. I need feedback about that, etc. And so that's just a small consultation circle. And then at some point, Azara will be rolling hers out in the next couple months. That's going to be about visibility and marketing. So that's where kind of the training aspect is. It's less decorating focused, generally like creative voice focused, business support, overall life work balance, etc. Yeah. And then the third one, I feel like I'm just going on and on. You're so patient with me. Thank you. The third arm of it is the activism piece, and that's the coalition. Yeah. And that's the piece that personally I'm really pumped up about. I know Azara is too. And that's where we are going to change the industry. We're going to change it. And it's going to happen with a variety of initiatives that might start out small, but we have a lot of ideas in the pipeline of what we want to be doing and getting people involved so that the conversation inside the industry, everything we talked about a moment ago, we can start to transform it. And then there's like all the future, ideas, like a podcast also, which you'd have to be guest, a summit, other in real life gatherings, and, other ideas that are kind of like assaulting us every night.
Yep, it sounds heavy. What are some of the things that you guys, you and Azara are putting in place to avoid getting burnt out in this process? Because you are both stalwarts in the field, and now you're opening access to yourself, right? And your encounters. What are the parameters that you've put in place to ensure that you don't get burned out?
Wow, that is such a good question. As we haven't quite felt that yet, we still have so much energy. I don't think that has been up for us as much. So when we come back on your show in 6 months, we'll talk about it again. But one thing I will say is that I have already been scaling back my business to be a different way, so that I'm making very few cakes per year. in order for my life to open up, because I have been working behind the scenes on building something like this for a really long time. And it's been just kind of like in an incubation inside my head. I mean, I obviously also have like a 100-page document that, I've been these ideas. Yeah. And Azara has too. It's been something that she's been building in the background while working another job. So I think we both feel ready to kind of pare down some of those other things, because this is what passion is. This is where the truth is. So that's kind of one approach I would say, is that now that we feel more energized and clear about making, all of those other things can just be kind of lessened and given more of their like dedicated spaces, so that more focus can be on this. This is a priority.
So as both of you are creating the Cake Circle, or a partnership in creating the Cake Circle, what are some of the lessons that you learned that you wish more cake artists knew earlier, before they get to the burnout stage?
Right. I would say one really big issue is it's okay to still be learning. In fact, it's expected. And that's one of the, that is related to what the initiative, I'll make that connection in a moment, one of the initiatives we're going to be rolling out. But because there's a low barrier to entry to this industry, many people come in and are immediately having to perform, immediately having to deliver on promises. And, they build the thing and then they start making the cakes, and it can be exciting, every new thing that you do, every new thing that you learn. But there's so much to learn, because it isn't just making the cake. It isn't just about perfecting that recipe. It isn't just about getting a new decorating technique under your belt. It isn't just about exploring your creative voice. There's also running a business, having to learn all of that. It's participating in a wedding industry, maybe, if that's the sort of cake you make, or at least the events industry, and the culinary world, and being a small business person, which involves marketing. And one person wears all the hats at the same time, before they've even necessarily had any training, education, internship, in situ experience. So to recognize that for the first few years while you're working is part of your training. And it's okay if you haven't got it figured out yet. It's okay if you mess up all over the place in certain parts that are not your strength or interest. And it's okay to keep pursuing more information as you go, and to recognize that maybe you're not going to be paid as highly in those first years, because you are kind of like bypassing a lot of education that people pay out of pocket for. So you're not going to necessarily be paid back. That when you enter this field, you're going in for the long haul, if you want it to be something that actually becomes a sustainable career.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's shift a little to impact. Okay. What impact you and Azara are hoping for in the next year? And then tell me about the 5 to 10 year impact that you hope to have on the industry.
Those are great time frames to consider the differences between. I'd say in the next year, a lot of it's going to be building, just continuing to build, continue to, a lot of outreach, getting people on board. What we're introducing is something that's really new to the industry. So I don't think that there's any sort of model that people would be able to turn to within the industry. You'd have to look to other industries in order to understand. It's a little bit more like a guild or a trade association. But since it's happening at a global level and there isn't like one government to be registering to, it's even more unique than a trade association or a guild. So So even just enrolling people in the idea and helping people understand what it is that we're doing really, I think is going to be a big part of what we're doing. I mean, just as everything I just said too about coming into, becoming a cake maker and the whole learning process, we're going to be doing that too. And we're going to be performing kind of on the front end. So even though we have a lot of other experience that got us to this place, we will be performing before we even know how to, because there's no one to turn to find out how to do this. We have to be inventing it as we go. And we're already getting, we're amassing a small group of other people in the industry to start attending these roundtable discussions so that we can work all of that stuff out and get the word out there. So that's kind of what the first year is going to be. Mm-hmm. And then in 5 to 10 years, I think what I would love to see is that public perception is starting to change. I would love to see cake makers entering this field, understanding, okay, what level am I? Am I like apprentice level? Am I journeyman? Just carpentry, etc. And what's associated with that? So that when I tell the public, order cakes from me, I'm kind of at a journeyman level cake maker. So therefore, my pricing is kind of structured this way. These are some of the things that I expect to be able to deliver for you. This is like what my experience and education level shows. These are the sorts of cakes, therefore, that I know I can deliver beautifully for you. Yeah. And that can be really helpful. And then on the inside, they would even know more like, this is the phase where I go through, crippling self-doubt at first, or I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, or, at higher levels, like I'm starting to step into a leadership role. I'm learning how to deliver workshops and train others. So once everybody kind of starts to get distinguished, and understanding like what should I be able to expect and what should I be able to demand from the public based on my area and my level of experience. I think that framework will really help cake makers entering the industry to know how they're progressing, where they're going, and it should hopefully be relaxing. I hope that people can feel like they can rest inside of having that structure instead of like they're just out there flailing and trying to create a business and do these sorts of things. So in 5 years, I would hope to see that sort of thing, that inside the industry, we are organizing, we're having important conversations with clientele, educating the public, we are formulating our own ability to organize ourselves and establish our levels of experience. And then in 10 years, I would like to see the impact really showing in the public eye, in the public perception.
Just curious, is there like a self-assessment within this model where people could actually take this test to know exactly where their level of cake artistry is, or even their level, how close are they to burnout? Are there any assessments within the model?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for, and yes, that's a great question. That's exactly what I was hinting at. There's going to be like an assessment, like, where are you in the area of expertise? What can you expect at this level? That's exactly one of your big initiatives.
Yeah, I heard it, and I was like, okay, let me pull it out. See if
you did. That's exactly what I was saying. I was just hinting at it. So yes, you got it out of me. That's one of the things that we're working on. But I also really appreciate in your question, you asked about burnout.
Yeah.
And I think identifying like how burnout is going to show up at each level is going to be absolutely key. In fact, I'm going to make a note about that right now to be able to incorporate how burnout is going to fit into this, because that is obviously like universally part of this industry.
Because I think for a community such as this, I think there needs to be a tool to say, how close am I to burnout, right? Maybe you are level 1, level 2, or level 3. I would welcome an assessment like that, because I'm somewhere there. Very close to there.
I mean, We all are. The world is so overwhelming. I'm sure you talk about this a lot. I mean, our nervous systems were not designed to be exposed to this level of chaos.
Yeah.
Technology has made it possible to live inorganically. And we just evolutionarily have not had time to catch up. So, protecting our very real biology, I think is important. And if anything, this is another bender I could go on talking about, but if anything, this is an extra important time for cake, for something that is created in an embodied way. So far, artificial intelligence cannot actually create cake.
Yeah.
It symbolizes gathering, humans coming together, doing something meaningful. That's something that AI doesn't really even need to participate with in any way, and it can't necessarily intrude upon that space. And as a sensory experience, we're taking it in during our most meaningful moments when we're encoding the memory of like, wow, this really powerful, poignant event is happening in my life.
Yeah.
Like the taste of it is stronger. The sense of it is stronger. The joy or the love of being around beloved people, community, is stronger in those moments because they're imbibed with meaning already. So, having a craft that affirms our humanity, it's like extra important right now. Burnout is inevitable if we don't prioritize our embodiment and our human experiences.
What I'm excited for the most as I'm hearing you speak are the stakeholders within this cake circle, the users of this, because I'm hearing how your training in cognitive science and psychology is influencing the way you actually think and approach this. And it's important. And I think it's going to be life-changing and healing for so many of us in the community. So I was like, okay, here is a piece that she's using all of her tools. Everything in her shop, in her wheelhouse is coming into this and is creating this magnificent thing. And I can't wait to see what happens within the next year, because 5 years is good, but I just want to see what changes within the next year. See how those conversations.
I mean, first of all, you and me both, because look at you, you're in cake and you have your degree, which is like, after my own heart. So yes, all of it. I feel like we all need psychology degrees to do any sort of work, actually, to some degree. But yeah, I hope in the next year that there's something that we can measure.
Yeah.
Even if it's just that more people are feeling that they can reinvest in their business. There are a lot of people with one foot out the door. There are a lot of people who already hung up their aprons 2 years ago, but there are more people still who held on, but they have 1 foot out the door and they're wondering why they should stick around. And so I hope that we can measure them reinvesting in this work. I think it's going to be more important than it was even 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And even to get some information around, this is my science background coming in, is how close they are to burnout. I think that would be something very easy to capture. So
yes.
that would be interesting to see.
Yes. Yeah. And how to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, starting with community. And one of the things that, we're realizing, in order to get really high quality business consulting or business advice, or even be in a community of people who have, similar businesses, I have turned to other fields and industries in order to get business consulting, because there really isn't a whole lot that's honed specifically for the unique features of the cake industry.
Yeah.
And so we've done a lot of work like translating that typical small business approach, models, all the different sorts of perspectives, theories of practice around business. Like so many individuals who were in cake we'll turn to those other communities, and they have to make that translation of like, okay, well, how does that apply to what I do? I don't have that kind of business. I have that kind of business. And so like, I'm having to do that extra work. That can be fruitful, but being able to go to a community where that is already honed, is just in place. It is part of it. Like, that's really important. And there are some communities in place that focus on that sort of thing. And I think one of the reasons that Cake Circle is going to be like new and different is because we're operating at like more of a, like the full trade association. So we're operating at the level of culture more so than just industry. I think there are a lot of communities in that middle section, personal, professional. There are a lot of people kind of at this level, but starting to make change and transformation at the cultural level. That's what we will be doing. And that's going to involve the help of all these other little communities. I don't believe we call them little. Some of them are huge.
I know,
Yeah, but these other communities are going to be part of those efforts. And one thing we want to do is like figure out a way to kind of like envelop everybody so that there's clear understanding, like we are not competing. You are an essential arm to being able to, you know, kind of disseminate the same conversations that the whole industry needs. You know, like we're working together.
You know, mindset shift is really challenging, but I really can welcome and appreciate this holistic approach that the Cake Circle is taking. So I really do look forward to the success of it and what changes it's going to bring and make in our community. But before we go, I would love for you to tell our listeners, how can they connect with you, learn more about the Cake Circle, and where can people find the community who want to join and become a part of this conversation?
I mean, one of the little points of kismet that happened very early on is that cakecircle.com was available. So that's our URL, cakecircle.com. Enter every part of this conversation through that URL, cakecircle.com. We're also on Instagram as Cake Circle Community. And no spaces or anything else there. And Facebook as well, but really like the website is kind of the main thing. And then you can always send DMs and messages to us through either of those platforms. And, you know, one of the things is like, we have a really big appetite, Azar and I both do, for knowing what's on other people's minds in the industry, seeing the work that they're doing, fielding questions people have. So the invitation is like, it isn't just there, it's like big, like please reach out. If there's any way that you're like, I want to be part of the activism, I don't really work professionally, so I don't know how to necessarily find a way into the community, or like I'm only interested in this sort of thing, so I don't necessarily need to be, you know, get consulting per se, but like I still want to be part of the conversation, etc., sharing whatever it is, like the invitation, like please reach out. We really want to know, what are people needing, how are people thinking about things, and where, you know, how we can start shaping everything together.
So guys, the URL is cakecircle.com, and there is a cost that's attached to this, of course.
Yes, I mean, to be in the membership, it comes to like $30 or $33 a month, which we priced hopefully low enough that in almost any economy around the world, it should be kind of a no-brainer. That you know, it's not going to be a barrier for people. The consulting side is more expensive, of course, but the activism piece of it is like, that just needs to be done. And that's not going to require membership. I mean, we will still, if you just even want to be on the email list and like learn about the initiatives that we're doing and start to like take some of those things on and make those little changes inside your neighborhood and community, as I was talking about earlier, like all of that's going to be available whether you're in the Cake Circle community or not. So, you know, there are a lot of ways to still have involvement without having to pay. But you know, we also need to make a living for all this work that we're doing. And there are other things that we're providing inside the community that, hopefully would just kind of make it an easy yes to participate and be there. But either way, please, like, the invitation is big. Yeah. The appetite is big. Find a way in. Guys.
Yeah, she says, find a way in, because the invitation is open to you all. Again, go to thecaketherapypodcast.com. I want to thank Jasmine for joining us today, for sharing this very new, exciting chapter of your work. I know you hinted it in season 1, and I'm excited to see it actually come to fruition. So thank you so much for coming back and sharing about this with us.
Amazing. Me too. And you know what? I'm really glad to have the bookend of our time together last time and then now even. And actually, I shouldn't even say the bookend. There's probably like another bookend in the future that I haven't seen yet. But I could not have known then what this was going to look like today. And I'm really just so heartened. And I appreciate very much having your platform to get to talk about this.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming. And I want to thank our listeners for joining us, as usual, for being great listeners and great users of the Cake Therapy podcast. But before we go, I want to share with you a mindful moment. So today's mindful moment is that the kitchen is a place of creation. Embrace each step, each stir as an act of self-expression. I want to thank you all for joining us. And before we close, I want to invite you all to grab a copy of my book, The Cake Therapy, How Baking Changed My Life, and Lessons I Never Learned from My Father. They're both available on Amazon. Just click the links in the episode description. I want to thank you again for joining us, Jasmine. And until next time, thank you for joining the Cake Therapy podcast.
My pleasure. And we'll have a Zara next time.
Yep, we definitely need to have a Zara on, because I would love to see, how the mind was working. Because I know I spoke to you initially and you had this, you were sitting on this thing. So I want to hear her process as well, to see how she got from there to here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was sitting on a thing too. And so when they came together, it was like, oh, you complete me. It was perfect.
Oh, you complete me. Well, it's the cake circle.
Exactly. It came full circle.
Thank you so much. It's always fun to talk to you. I love how you think and you process things, and I love to see the journey, and I've enjoyed it. So thank you.
To you as well. Thank you, Dr. Foster, for the quality of your listening. It's powerful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Cake Therapy invites you to our first fundraiser, the Spring Dessert Experience, on Sunday, April 26, 2026. This will be an elevated afternoon of desserts, connection, and collective healing. Save the date. Thank you for tuning in to the Cake Therapy podcast. Your support means the world to us. Let us know what you thought about today's episode in the comment section. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you found the conversation helpful, please share it with a friend. Also follow Sugar Spoon Desserts on all social media platforms. We invite you to support Cake Therapy and the work we do with our foundation by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, or by visiting the Cake Therapy website and making a donation. All your support will go towards the Cake Therapy Foundation and the work we are doing to help women and girls. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.